What is up, guys, and welcome to the Meeple Minded, the show where three grown men absolutely shouldn't be excited about brewing magical tea, but here we are anyway. My name is Jason.
I'm James.
And I'm Ant.
How are you doing this week, guys?
All good, sir. How are you?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. It seems weird because for those watching, they'll be just looking at me right now, and I feel like I'm talking to myself.
To the two other faces we can't see in shot.
Indeed. But what about you, James? You all good?
I am very happy, Jason.
Are you very happy? Why are you very happy, James? I'll give you your 2 minutes to talk about why you're happy.
I am very happy because at the time of recording yesterday, I picked up my new car.
You finally have a car.
I have a car. I am no longer bound to walking everywhere.
That car that you've been saying you're going to buy for, what was it, over a year now, isn't it?
Nearly 2 years now, at least, isn't it?
Yeah. It was well over a year ago because it was the reason he didn't come to Essen with us, and that was over a year ago. So,
Yes.
it's been a while. It's been a while.
has.
But it's happened.
It has.
You're happy.
I'm very happy.
Excellent. What's the excuse going to be next year?
There won't be one.
Okay, fair enough. That'd be my excuse for next year. I can't afford to go.
We need to move around the table with excuses. I've had my year. It's your turn.
Yeah, that's fair. No, Ants will be next.
Mine will definitely be next.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
then James will be the year after.
Excellent. Well, there you go. What about you, Ant? How have you been? It's been, 2 weeks since we last
Since we
sat
last
down,
did,
I think? Yeah.
Playing, buying, playing and buying.
Nice. You bought a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought a fair few things, thanks courtesy of Tabletop Rescue. Thank you guys if you're listening.
Yeah. But anyway, that's enough chatting. Should we crack on with this show?
Let's do it.
Head to the Meeple menu and see what we're serving up this week.
So we're going to start with the setup phase where we talk about the latest board game news.
And then on to the Meeple Moments, where we talk about the games we've played this week.
And then for your main event this week, we are going to be talking about our first impressions of Tea Witches. Ooh. And we're going to start off with some more GAMA news, because GAMA has announced that John Stacey will be stepping down as executive director, ushering in new leadership precisely as the organisation kicks off its ambitious 10-year strategic plan, the plan that we discussed on our last podcast, Dan. The plan where GAMA is looking to go global with their tabletop gaming and become some like mass thing across the market. But yeah, Stacey's departure at this critical time does raise big questions about the stability and direction. Can GAMA's new leaders deliver on that global vision, or will the organisation struggle with its growing pains? Is GAMA's shake-up a sign of healthy change, or a warning that the trade body is pushing itself too far too fast? What do we think, guys?
Well, if someone's stepping down, he clearly can't think that it's going to work. So that's a worrying sign in my eyes.
I would definitely say that, yeah. I mean, James, you obviously weren't here last time we talked about GAMA.
Yep.
I think I uttered something like, I'm not actually sure what GAMA even does. I know it's been around for a long time, but it's more of like an industry thing as opposed to a public thing. But what they are planning to do in their 10-year plan is become more of a global entity, getting in more members, and really pushing into the mainstream. They did a little bit of a thing when the tariffs started coming in. They gathered a load of people and started trying to fight it.
Yep.
But yeah, it all sounded promising. But ever since then, in less than 2 weeks, we've had this announcement that the quite high up is stepped down.
Yeah, that usually means, as Ant said, that either the person stepping down doesn't agree with the direction they're going, or they don't believe that they can fulfill the post and don't want to get blamed when it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
It's usually a basic statement of so and so and so and so have decided to part ways amicably. And then you sort of go, have they?
Is it? Yeah, is it? I mean, that's the other question. Is this he's stepping down, or is this you are stepping down?
Yeah, you're never going to tell us that, though, are they?
No, of course not.
That's between person and entity.
Yeah.
Or getting out of Dodge before it's someone else's problem.
Exactly. Yeah. Titanic heading towards the iceberg.
There we go.
Is that what he thinks this is? Who knows? But yeah, interesting news. I guess there's a big job opening coming at GAMA. interested to see still where it's going and whether GAMA can fulfill what they said they were going to do. For our second story, we have got that several board game publishers are now publicly warning that ongoing tariff volatility is forcing them to scale back their upcoming releases, according to Board Game Wire. Companies are reducing print run sizes, delaying certain titles, and increasing retail prices in response to the uncertain import costs. Of course, for smaller and mid-sized publishers that rely on thin margins, this could particularly be painful and may lead to less frequent drops and more risk-adverse design choices. If publishers are cutting back on releases because of tariffs, are we heading towards a leaner, less fat board game market, or is this just a temporary blip to get through? What do we think?
Well, this is going to be an issue for a while, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
It is going to dumb down the amount of releases we could be potentially getting instead of, just the big ones. I can see like smaller independent ones not getting its chance it needs to get its games to life and out to people for this particular reason and stuff. So, yeah, it's a bit worrying in my opinion, to be honest.
I'd have to agree with that. It's like, I think this is just the reality for at least the next 3 years.
Yes.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we don't go political on this, especially with American politics, because we're not in the States. Yeah. But yeah, I think I said on the last one, and it is concerning because there seems to be more and more stories coming out with relation to the tariffs and how it's affecting the business. We said last time, the last 2 news shows we've done have been about companies that have decided to either stop stuff in America with the Amigos. You've got, was it Ludonort, that are just not doing anything anymore after 2025. All in relation to the landscape that is currently being made for the board game business.
I do not see that landscape changing for 3 years.
Some time. Yeah.
Minimum.
Yeah. So yeah, strange, annoying times really with regards to America and what have you, but small and medium weight publishers, see, I really do like my smaller publishers, especially indie publishers, but if they're not going to be able to put out the products, they can't innovate, they can't bring out new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, I mean, as we've seen, it's going to hit the small and medium publishers, but it's hit plenty of big publishers as well, because they would have had their 5 or 10 year plans, which have just had a blowtorch taken to them basically, and it's caused a few of them to almost topple.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just because they're a big company doesn't mean they're not running close to the wire.
No, because I recently received an email from WizKids because I've kickstarted their Robot Quest Arena from like nearly 2 years ago now, and they've only just updated me from like nearly a 7-month gap, saying they've had to sack off so many people just to keep the company going.
I know you were mentioning recently that we
were talking about
genuinely thought it was not going to fulfill.
And they're saying they still have for now. I'm still in my doubts about it, but they have apparently laid off a lot of people at WizKids just to keep it going.
I think they're quite a good showing Essen and managed to sell quite a lot of products, so maybe that's given them a second lease of life.
But still, people's jobs are getting lost because of these tariffs, and it's not fair at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, shame. Very big shame, but hopefully with our third story we can be a bit more positive. It is still somewhat tariff related, but it is more positive, I promise you, because Asmodee, the big conglomerate that they are, has restarted their acquisition strategy. This time they are targeting smaller studios and niche publishers in response to the growing production costs and market consolidation. This is according to Board Game Wire. Asmodee is looking to invest in companies with strong IP and very specific production expertise, particularly in regions where manufacturing might be more cost effective. While acquisitions like this could streamline Asmodee's operations, they may also raise real concerns for the indie game ecosystem at the same time. So, is Asmodee's acquisition push good for stability, or is it slowly squeezing the creative heart out of those aforementioned smaller publishers?
Yeah, it very much sounds like this is great, because this is more about them purchasing like studios by the sound of it, smaller independent studios. Great for the studios that get picked up because they get the support and backing of Asmodee. What it does tend to do whenever you get a large group like that going into effectively the small and indie thing is it squeezes out the ones that like you just said, it's well, what about all the publishers that don't take on, who are effectively now competing with a conglomerate?
Yeah exactly.
It's not indie publisher versus indie publisher, it's indie publisher versus Asmodee.
Yeah exactly. What are your thoughts on it, Ant?
So I kind of see Asmodee, I'm going to go into like video game territory here, as like the Xbox of acquisitions. Xbox, if anyone doesn't know the video game stuff, have bought so many video game companies, from studios to like Activision, Bethesda, all of these independent companies. And the problem when a company owns so much is that they have promised video games, or could be Asmodee with board games, but Xbox has also cancelled stuff at the very last minute because they either put too much money into it or they feel like it's going to be a failure. Yeah. And I've got a feeling that Asmodee could do the very same thing here. Because again, big company, and it kind of does worry me because Xbox put billions of dollars into buying this stuff. Yeah. And look at them now. They're basically not releasing much at all. Yeah. And I'm worried that Asmodee might do the same because of all the big stuff they're buying, from Simon to all the other stuff as well. It's a lot they're taking in, and I have to worry about it day by day that they're taking in just too much. Yeah. Deal with that first, then start buying other stuff.
What happens when they suddenly turn around and go, oh, we've spent a bit too much money. There we go. Yeah. Okay, stop that.
Exactly. And as we said, like, because they broke away from the Embracer and they took that huge chunk of debt with them, it's not a problem for Asmodee because they are making a decent amount of money. They're paying off that debt, which is why they were lumbered with it. But for how long? Especially if they're then whacking out more money on buying the studios.
I know it's the nature of business, but they'll also be doing that effectively gambling. They're making money, but they're gambling on the fact that these studios that they're acquiring are going to make them some money. Yeah. If that doesn't pan out.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
But one final thing that I want to talk about with regards to this was actually a little bit that I was reading. I know I didn't read out the whole thing there, but there was a lot of talk about specifically acquiring places in places like Brazil, which interests me because for years we weren't able to get the likes of Comic Hunters here because it was a Brazil production from a small studio. So if that's the kind of thing they're looking at getting, that's great. But also they were talking about specialist production facilities in other regions other than China that could be used in their own production lines for games that they already had. You know, and this is where it circles back to the tariffs. It's going to skit round those China tariffs, which seem to go up and down like a roller coaster. Yeah, almost on a daily basis.
That seems to be a fairly smart strategy when it comes to the tariffs. It's almost like saying, "Well, look, we're moving away from. We're doing what you wanted, basically, and moving away from China.
We're just not coming to the US."
I don't necessarily think. I think that would be nice, but I don't necessarily think that's the end goal of the tariffs. It's more, well, there's a lot of manufacturing in China. We're not particularly happy about that.
Yeah.
So, but if these companies are then turning around and trying to say, look, we're moving away from China, cut us a break.
Yeah, I mean, it is ultimately his aim is to get manufacturing back into the States, but the long and short of it is there is no board game manufacturing in America. It's just not there. There's no expertise for it. There's none here. So we're in the same
we're in the same boat, but it's the same as all manufacturing. It's like, well, you need to make it, you want it to come back here, you need to make it affordable.
Yeah exactly.
There's a reason everyone shifted over to places like China, as it's cheap.
Yep, exactly. But I think it'll be interesting, especially if they manage to get manufacturing in multiple different countries, because then they could just be like, right, we're now manufacturing in Brazil. Oh, there's a lot of stuff coming from Brazil now. We're going to put tariffs on Brazil. Cool, right, we're going to shift our manufacturing to Argentina now. And it just, every time they get caught up. It would be great if they could just go, cool, right, shift the production to this facility, and here, and here, and here, and then
I don't
again, it would
I don't think
localized production.
I don't think you'd end up with that problem. It's like, I think from a political standpoint, it's China that's the problem.
Yeah.
I don't think that the political animosity is there. If they suddenly turn around and go, "Oh, there's a lot of stuff coming from Brazil," it's like, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, overall, I think this is somewhat good. But I don't want to see Asmodee
To and fro.
Again to use the word for what it's actually designed for. I don't want to see Asmodee holding the monopoly of the market.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't mean the game, obviously.
Yes.
Just the actual monopoly.
Said the M word.
I said the M word.
Yes.
But yeah, that's the stories I've got for you this week. The 3 news stories for this week. Interesting stories. We're not experts, but it's interesting to keep up with this stuff. Shall we head on over to talk about some things that's been happening recently?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Head on over to Meeple Moments. Okay, guys, so who wants to start with some stuff they've been doing recently?
I'll go first because mine's really easy.
Okay, cool. It gives me a couple of minutes to figure out what I want to talk about.
Well, I'm only going to give you a couple of seconds, Jason, because the game I played this week is the game we're talking about on this episode. Games.
I understand now why he went first.
I have also been playing the game we're talking about this episode, but we also played Tenby.
We did. Talk about Tenby, and I'll figure out the other game that I was going to talk about.
Tenby, really nice little simple game about building a street or streets.
Streets, yes, yeah.
So very interesting scoring mechanics in there with your card layouts. Very very interesting little game.
Yeah. So Tenby, that's obviously it's based on the little town in Wales, the seaside town in Wales. It has all the pastel coloured buildings and all that jazz. It's a very interesting game because it's another one of them games where everything scores.
Yeah,
right? Absolutely everything.
I will say that it's very hard to keep track of what you're actually scoring.
Yeah. And you've sort of got multiple ways to do it as well, because you could make one massive long street.
Oh, you mean the advice that you gave to both me and Dave, don't build one massive long street, and then proceeded to build one long big massive street.
Until the end.
Don't push that button.
Don't push that big red button that says push me. But yeah, it is interesting because it's a card drafting type game, where you've got a nice central thing where you can choose your cards from. But the player turn order changes depending on the actions that you choose to take that turn. It's really, really interesting.
Yes. You have a little piece, and the actions are determined by what card you put that piece on. They have a number at the top. Mm-hmm. So the higher the number, the further down the turn. So if you
on the following turn,
if I put my piece on card 1, it's probably only got one action on it. Jason puts his piece on card 16.
Yep.
It's probably got several actions on it, but he's probably going last.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and it's really interesting.
And it's a bit of a gap. There's quite a bit of player interaction, I think, and potential for
100%. Yeah, because when whoever goes first obviously gets to do the actions that are on their cards, and that'll be take a card from A row, B row, or C row. But you also have those little life preserve ring things, like life rings, which you can spend in different amounts to do extra actions,
and you tend to get those from getting the
cards,
the higher cards, which is a mechanic I will actually say after thinking about it I like, because it's possible to lock people out strategically, but it's not possible to consistently lock them out.
Yeah,
because once if you're locking them out, they've probably gained those life preservers. And once they've got enough life preservers, they can spend them to take actions.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But there is an element, as you say, of player interaction because, say, for example, in a 4-player game, if you're going dead last and everyone else has spent life preserve rings to do extra actions, to claim more cards, once that central display is empty, the only cards you're going to be able to draw if that's your actions are blind. You don't know what you're going to get.
So yes, if yours has got, say, 3 of the, I'll call them peer actions.
The peer actions,
for example, on yours, and you're going last. Yes, me and Dave could turn around and go, well, there's only 3 on display. He's got 1 action. I've got potential of 2 actions. So we're just going to clear that off.
Yeah. So there is an element of
you probably clearly, but there's also, if you're a canny player, there's also potential for misdirection because you can spend that peer action to take a lesser action instead. You can say, I'm going to take a lesser action. So you might actually want houses, but I choose the one that's got all the water actions on it, so that you go, oh, he wants water, clears it, and then I go, no, I don't, I want houses.
Or adversely, in the take that element, I might take those water ones, looking at you, going, you could do with some peers. I'm going to take that card.
Yeah.
That's got the peer actions on, but I know that I don't want peers. I'm just going to take the house actions instead. So there is an element of take that to it.
It's quite difficult. It's quite like I said, though, it's quite difficult to take that because you're gambling on that. That's what I want. Exactly. And I'm not going to just downgrade my action and go, no, I've fooled you. I wanted houses.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a really, really interesting game. I've really enjoyed playing it. It's actually a video I'm going to be working on very soon. So keep an eye out for that one. But yeah, Tenby, it's a very, very strategic game because, like I said, everything in it scores. Every card that you're putting in your town scores in some way.
Yeah.
Whether it be there's points on the card, or it will score points based on the cards next to it, or 2 cards next to it,
or if it's a landmark,
the whole street. Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to see it. It's sort of like Pagola.
Yeah.
In a way where it's like your mind is absolutely everywhere, but this one's even harder to track what you're doing.
I would say this one's harder because it literally, that card triggers that card, which triggers that card, which triggers that. It would be sort of like, this one will score, your starting card will score 2 points for every cloud that's on the card next to it. And then that card will score to left to right, depending on how many pigeons are on it. And it's just sort of like, well, my start card's already got pigeons on it. So ideally I want a pigeon scoring one here that's got clouds on it because the starting card is scoring clouds.
Doing that,
And then what's on that? Well, that's pigeon. So I want another pigeon here. What's that scoring next to it? And is that chaining? If you do that
inevitable thing later on in the game where that perfect card is like, if I had that card and I could put it in this position, it would score me like 20 points. But the problem is I can't put it there because you can only place the cards at either end of your street.
But it is important to notice that for 2 life preserve rings.
Yes, 2, James.
2, after clarification in the rulebook, and it cost me a lot of points at the end there, you can move a card.
You can. Yeah. But again, that's where those life rings really do come in. And where you play them is very strategic because, there is sometimes a case where a card comes out and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It could score you a lot of points, but you've got to place it so far away. It's like, no, it's worth me spending my 2 life rings to move it and put it where I want to put it.
I like the fact as well that mechanic isn't too powerful and too perfect because it's not swap cards.
No, it's move one card.
Move one card. So you have to say, take it from the middle of your street and put it on the end.
Yeah.
So you have to really decide whether it's worth moving it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not swap 2 cards from place to place, which would be a little too powerful, I feel.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's a lot of game in Tenby. I think, Ant, you might enjoy Tenby. I will say there's a lot to think about in that game, and it is a stressful game, especially the first time you play it.
No, I heard it was one of the games that was first sold out in Essen, so I'm quite intrigued to give it a go and see what the hype is about. But so hearing what you guys say, the hype sounds pretty real about it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a surprising table hog as well. James, I feel really bad that Ant hasn't got to talk about very much, so I'm going to pick a game that we actually played together a couple of weeks ago when we had Simon of Board Stupid over here. We played and got to try Pinched.
Oh, of course. Why didn't I think of that? Yes. Do you know, I completely forgot about that game tonight. Yes.
So this works out nicely because we can both talk about it a little bit. Now, Pinched was a big game at Essen, right? I think it was released at Essen.
Yeah, Mighty Boards, isn't it?
Mighty Boards. And I was really impressed with Pinched because it was so simplistic there was a nice element of player take that. There was a nice element of strategic planning. There was a nice element of bluffing in there as well. And it just all combined really, really nicely into what was a very simple, easy board game to play. So for those that don't know what Pinched is, it's kind of like you're a thief, right?
Yeah.
You're essentially a thief. It's Thief Simulator, if you so will. There's three boards. Three or four boards.
It's 4 boards because it's one per suit of card, isn't it?
And you have a set of cards, 4 cards that have different suits on each one. And at the start of your turn, everyone at the same time chooses a card, keeps it hidden until everyone is chosen, then reveal at the same time.
And you have to try and guess who the master thief is.
That's
going
correct.
to,
Yeah. So if it's my turn, if I'm the first player, everyone else at the table has got to try and figure out where I'm going to try and go.
Yeah.
So I've chosen to go to blue. Ant's picked yellow. James, you've picked green. And, oh, damn it, little Jimmy has picked blue. So he's guessed right.
Damn you, Jimmy.
Because he guessed right, I only get to do some pretty basic stuff at that house. I can go in and I can steal a mobile phone. It's not a mobile phone. I think it's art. It's usually art.
Yeah, it's
and
the
stuff
typical
like
robbery stuff, isn't it?
But I can steal just one thing because he's going to get to go there and also steal something. If no one had chosen it correctly, I could steal everything and be able to do the special action
of that specific floor, isn't it?
Specific floor. And they range in different things as well. One of my favourite ones was, I think it was the green. It was the very bottom one.
The dog,
where you
wasn't
could
it?
steal the dog. And if you still had the dog when it come back to your turn, you got...
more cards or something?
I think you got a load more cards or something like that.
Like from the top one where you take if you've got the thing wrong or whatever it was.
So yeah, it's really, really interesting because I love that bluffing mechanic. I loved the theme of it was fun as well. It wasn't like, I call it Thief Simulator, but it wasn't like proper nasty Thief Simulator.
No. Oh, I don't know.
It was
nicking someone's dog sounds gross.
But there was one on there, I think, where it's like it's a play on the Mona Lisa, isn't it? Or Lisa Moans or something like that. I think Lisa Moans. But if you go there and you weren't, no one guessed right, you got to steal the Lisa Moans, and that was worth like 4 points.
Yeah,
4 or 5 points on its own at the end. And you could only get that if
no one can steal it off you.
No one can steal it off you. So yeah, lots of really interesting mechanics to it. Very, very fun. It was a very quick game.
Yeah, it's
45 minutes.
Only 4 rounds, and the fact that I just loved how each floor had a different, like, it's the theme, but one had like a secret passage, and one had one where you could move paintings and stuff like that. And someone was talking, so we played obviously the 3-player version, but someone was saying about the 4-player version, there's obviously one where there's a bank element to it. I mean, we obviously didn't play that, but I would love to try the 4-player version and see how different it is compared to the 3-player one. So, no, very good game. It was not what I expected whatsoever because I watched Game Night Live played it.
Yeah.
And it looked completely different to me, and I was just like, I haven't got a clue what's going on here. But obviously, Simon was a great teacher. He taught it all for Essen, taught it to us, or taught it to us, sorry. And I just had fun with it. It was a lot more fun than I thought I had. I didn't win, of course, but yes, I really did.
I did.
I wouldn't own it, but I really did enjoy it.
See, I'm actually in a different part. I think I would own that.
Yeah?
I think I would. I think I know enough people that would enjoy that because it's kind of a family weight level. Like, maybe not family weight, but, advanced family weight.
Yeah, family plus.
Family plus. So yeah, that's some games we've been playing recently. Shall we talk about the one that you alluded to?
Despite the fact that we mentioned it in the intro.
Stop with the technicalities. Stop with the technicalities.
Let's not hold them in suspense any longer.
No, I know. So we'll have a quick little drinky break before we get to hexing each other over potions and tea and celebrities.
Celebrities.
And we'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. See you in a minute. Okay, guys, so we are suitably refreshed. That break was a little bit longer than planned because we decided to laugh quite a bit, which I'm sure we'll cover as to why that was. because I don't care. It is what it is. We don't get that many kids listening now anyway, so fine, whatever. But we're going to be talking about Tea Witches, which is our first impressions of Tea Witches. I've actually played this a fair amount of time, but you guys have played it a lot less than I have. So, like, straight off the bat, what are your first impressions? We'll go into a bit more detail, but like, just an overview of your first impressions, Ant.
So pretty much like Pinched, it wasn't what I was expecting because this was one I was actually really looking forward to this year. And I believe we've done an episode where it was what was the ones you're looking forward to 2025.
Yes,
this was on the list. I was very dead certain it was just worker placement.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's actually a blend of like two different ones.
Yeah,
which
you've got some
card drafting, should we say?
I mean, I guess there is some form of that in there, but it's definitely push your luck.
Yeah, and push your luck definitely
in there, because that's how you get your
customers and stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, like I'd definitely say like it's definitely worker placement. But
yes, it still has that in it.
There's a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah, and I just thought it was just worker placement. And then when you were explaining the rules, I'm like, wait, what? This was not what I was getting. I was getting myself into. There's actually a lot more to this now. And,
100%.
And obviously, me knowing it's from the designers of Flamecraft and stuff. So, like I said, I was just dead certain it was this thing, and it was actually 3 other things going on. So it kind of tainted my experience with the game a bit, but I did still enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I think I need to play it another 2 more times maybe to really give a decision. But yeah, it's okay for me at the moment.
That's okay. Good. What about you, James? How was your first impressions of it?
I'm going to be honest, because I've played it 3 times now.
Yep.
So fulfilling our sort of our old mantra of
to do a kind of you've seen everything.
Yeah, 3 plays. I'll be brutally honest. After the first play, I didn't like it.
No,
and I've warmed to it a bit more since. I would actually go as far as to say that I was definitely, after the first play, I was like, I do not like this game.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it somewhat on a podcast at one point as some of our Meeple Moments, where we sort of expressed concern about how certain game mechanic was maybe not to its best interest. And I would say I was kind of in the same boat as you. Yeah. Like my first impressions of it was a bit, I'm not too sure about this. Yeah. But now I would say my impressions have turned around a bit.
Yeah, I would say it's one of those games. It's had nothing to do with the theming or the way the game looks. Its components, they're all really nice.
Yes.
It's Flamecraft artwork, so I love that.
Yep.
I just found the rules a little convoluted, and it took the whole game plus thinking about it afterwards to actually really work out how it worked, which made the first play very clunky.
It did, yeah, 100%.
And then it is almost, though nowhere near as complicated, it's almost the Arc Nova effect, where it's like, then you sit down for the second play and you go, this is going a bit better because I kind of, I get it a bit now.
Yeah.
Whereas most games, you by the end of the first play, even if you've not had a fantastic game, by the end of the first play, you're like, well, I know how this works, so second game, I'll be in there.
Yeah.
Very much my first impression was, I'm not sure there's going to be a second game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely going to always do what I always do. I'll always play these games, because I'd always intended to actually do a video review of this, and it wasn't ever going to make it to the podcast as the first impressions. But honestly, I just don't have as much time as I want right now to be able to do a full-blown review for this currently, but it will come eventually. But yeah, I was interested to do the first impressions because I know Anne wanted to play it, and I felt bad because we did kind of sour your taste a bit when we talked about it previously. And you said you still wanted to play it, so let's do it. Let's get it played, and then we can do a first impressions on it, because it is an interesting one to have that first impression.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's not all singing and dancing. So I guess that gives you a rough idea of where we're going to be going with this. But we'll go through a few little bullet points that I've got to break it down a little bit.
I think but to close it off, it's like definitely my takeaway from that first game, and it's been a long time, was I'm not sure there's going to be a second play, and I've got to kind of talk myself into that. So, like, when I've got to do this, or just give it another chance.
Someone like me that doesn't give you a choice.
Yeah, well, it's that internal feeling of, I suppose I should give it a second chance, but it's been a long time since I've actually had to have that that talk with myself, basically, of oh no, you've got to give it a second chance, because normally it's let's go for a second game.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so a few bullet points that I've got to try and figure out and keep the conversation flowing and break down our first impressions a bit more. Obviously, the theme side of this, it is somewhat set still in that sort of Flamecraft universe. It's not by the same publisher, so we have to bear that in mind. It is the same design, it's the same artist, so visually it looks like Flamecraft. And arguably, I think a lot of people are going to think that it is the sequel, if you so will. But the honest thing is, it's not really. So, magical tea, brewing, there's familiars, there's witches. You've got that really nice, cozy but clever aesthetic, I will say that. Where you've got the board in front of you, and I think it's like a hex board, is it? I think.
Yes,
I forget how many sides it is, but I think it's a hexagon. And each sort of quadrant of it is a shop. Much like Flamecraft, each shop has 3 things that can be done, 3 positions.
And an ability.
And an ability as well once you've done the actions at the shop. So that's fairly similar, but I would actually say that's kind of where the similarities end. But theme-wise, did it land for you guys? You know, when you sort of, the intro to the game is you are essentially, let's just say it. Yeah, we were referring to this game as tea bitches.
Yeah.
So you are a tea bitch. Ant-Man, did you feel like a tea bitch?
So, you kind of throw me off on that one there. I started off with it like, I can see the tea side to it, but I was trying to put in the witch side to it.
Yeah.
Not going to say to be with it. And then later on, when obviously you have the celebrities and stuff and other ones that require certain other ingredients to put into it, like one was an eyeball, one was a tooth, and one was like, I can't remember, like I think
looks like a Powerpuff Girl.
James calls it a purple Sonic.
Yeah. I call it a Powerpuff.
That's when the witch element.
I think I actually called it psychedelic hedgehog.
Oh, something like that. Yeah, something like that. But that was where, for me, the witch element had come into it a bit more. And obviously, the little hut you have with the storage thing, because it's got the little potion, like scientific, elements to it. You remember cylinders and all that sort of stuff. So that's where that sort of came into it. It was just weird how these witches are serving tea to these other creatures witches, and other witches and stuff. But so there was both elements in there, but more the tea side than the actual witch side for me.
Yeah, I mean, you could sort of easily say it's not tea, it's potions. No, you're serving potions or whatever. But yeah, I mean, the theme's sort of, it is there. I'm not sure I felt like I was operating a pushcart tea stand.
No.
But at the same time, I got enough of the theme to know that, I'm serving customers. So, yeah, I guess for me, the theme did hit. But what about you, James?
See, you almost said it then, and then you veered off. For me, the theme of the game is there. It's witchy. Oh, the board is sufficiently themed. The premise of the game didn't land, which is operating a tea stand. I did not feel at any point like I was operating a tea stand.
Yeah, 100%. Right.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I guess as we go on talking a bit more about the mechanisms, that to me is probably what detracts from the making of tea, shall we say. Because you've obviously got, like, one of the key things within the game is you claim, a part of the actions is to take I want to say they're the toppings in the middle, but they're not, are they? That's what the marshmallow things are. So you've got
ingredients.
The ingredients from the center, and then you have to store them. But then that part of the game is what took me away from the theme, because I was having to do some spatial puzzle to be able to store my teas. And then if I had certain storage for this tea, it would make lots of other tea. And it was like, well, hang on a minute. Now I'm doing some kind of, I don't know, I guess witchery.
Yeah. Some witchcraft.
Some witchcraft to create more tea and thus keep my costs low because I'm making my own stuff.
And that is exactly why I say the theme's there, the premise isn't.
Yeah. And that's why I say like maybe potions would be a better thing, because that would feel a bit more normal if I was selling potions, because with potions you have to make them, and but I guess kind of tea you do. But it just thematically for me it didn't hit perfectly on the tea stand.
To me, it's this game doesn't know what it actually is trying to get you to do.
Yeah,
I can't really expand on that without going further into the specific rules, which I'm sure we're going to do. But that's for me. There's a lot of good ideas in there. For me, it just doesn't stick the landing.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit more about the gameplay flow. This where we can talk about the action selection. We can talk about the ingredient gathering, the potions, and the tea crafting, as we've kind of touched on a bit already. Also, I want to talk about the player interaction within this section, because this is the worker placement aspect of the game, right? So the first thing that you're going to be doing on your turn simultaneously, or you're going to be pushing your luck, drawing customers from your hand, your deck of cards, and playing them out along your board. You can stop at any time, but if at any point you get a witch of the same color, you go bust, and then you have
you get
hexed. That's the official terminology. So you get hexed, and you end up losing a load of customers back to, I think it's 3.
Where your hut is, or something.
Where the hut ends.
3 customers. And that's my first criticism of the game.
Okay, let's go for it.
4-round game.
Yeah.
Push your luck element is pretty much pointless in the first 2 rounds, because you're very, very, very unlikely to be able to realistically serve more than 2 customers.
Yeah, I can definitely go for that. See, I would expand on that personally and say, for me, my first impressions of it is it's pointless, pretty much full stop, because as you said, you're not going to serve too many in those first couple of rounds. But the way I've been playing, and it's been, let's be honest, pretty good for me, I pretty much only serve the people that I served in that first round.
Yeah.
So I push it quite a bit in that first round, get my loyal customers, serve them, and they're the ones I focus on.
But the reason I say
that every other round I get nothing from
reason I say it's pointless is because realistically, especially in that first round, your pot can only hold 1 tea, and you've only got 1 storage, and unless you luck out with the starting condition that gives you extra money, you're probably not going to be able to buy more storage in the first round. You can only really serve 2 customers, and that's if they're a single ingredient.
Yeah.
Witches. If you get one that needs a double ingredient, you're probably only serving 1. This is also where I feel like I don't know, because if I was operating a tea cart, this tea cart's not going to be in business very long, because I've pushed my luck, drawn 5 customers, and I can serve 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a fair comment theme-wise.
And then, I know we'll touch on it later, once you've served that one person in order for them to score, you have to keep serving them, which means that any new customers who join the line ain't going to get served.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's that I mean, that's interesting. I like the push your luck being in there. But at the same time,
it's pointless.
I find it pointless most of the time. What about you, Annie? Because I know you quite like Push Your Luck.
Well, in all fairness, the game we played, I didn't really get hexed until the very last round. So I was actually lucky on that aspect of it. So I didn't mind it at first, but if I played it more, I might actually be in the same position as what James was and yourself were saying. So yeah, I don't really have a complaint on it at the moment. But like I said, if I played it more, I probably would have joined you on that.
Yeah. It would destroy the hex element of the game and the turn order, because that determines the turn order for the round, whether you get hexed or not, and then who's got the longest line. I feel if you actually wanted to replicate a tea cart, the customer numbers should be randomized somehow. You're going to get X amount of customers this round who are going to join the line. Next round, the line gets longer. The round after, the line gets longer.
I'll maybe find a way that you're fighting for customers from the center of the board.
Your 3 tea push carts in a square, and you've got a shared customer pool, and you have to attract customers. That would be...
Yeah, I mean, once you've served them, the loyal customers, because once you've served them, they become a loyal customer, and providing you then serve them every turn, they remain loyal customers. You could do that without the push your luck element. Like you said, have a central pool, you're fighting for those customers. Once you've got that customer, become loyal. As long as you serve them, they remain loyal. I would personally do it that way, but, they've gone the route they have. It's not a bad part of the game.
Yeah.
It's just...
I don't feel it's
not necessary.
It's not that... Yeah,
No, it's not the best part of the game, let's put it that way. But yeah, so then once you've done that, you know what customers you've got to serve. Then we go to the action selection. We've figured out the turn order based on who's got the most cards and who isn't hexed, and so on and so forth. You then start the game with 2 teapups, which is your sort of worker, if you like.
It's like a little kettle, isn't it?
It's like a little kettle, yep. And you place that down on one of the shops in one of the 3 sections, and you perform the actions that's on there. Some of them are take 3 actions, and your actions can be collecting tea from the central fountain or rotating the fountain. Design-wise, that's really cool, to be able to turn that fountain, but, it is what it is. And that's it. That's action-wise, that's all you can do. Take, turn. You can also take a second time, which then moves the one that was already in your teapup into your store, and then that one replaces that one. I think it's called filling, but whatever.
Yes.
It's taking something from the middle. Once you've done those actions, you get to the shop action, which changes depending on which shop you're in. And then that's it. That'll be your turnover. You get the chance to serve customers with ingredients that you've gathered. If you can't do it, cool, that's not a problem. We'll talk about the takeaway orders in a minute, but before your turn ends, you do the last orders for takeaways, for anyone to cash in theirs, and then that's it.
Yeah, so linking back into what I said in the previous step, but now that you've explained how you actually generate tea, only makes me double down on saying the push your luck element is, it definitely in the first 2 rounds and arguably all the way through, you can store, unless you get very lucky and generate the money required to get more storage, you can store a maximum of 3 teas, 2 in the pup, 1 in your starting storage.
Yeah.
You're only ever going to be able to serve maximum of 2 witches in the first round.
Yeah, exactly. So the teapups are magical teapups, where they don't lose the ingredient that's in them, but they can only be used to serve 1 customer for that round.
But you're only going to... I place my pup and do my actions, and if I can serve a witch, then you go, then Ant goes,
then it comes back.
Then it comes back to me, and I place my second pup and fill it. So yes, if it falls perfectly for you, because the other thing is the cards are a little basic as well in the terms of the ingredients. They're either going to require 1 of a type or 2 of the same type. I don't believe they mix.
No,
not on your customers, which also makes, because once it's in your, it's like, well, I don't need that color anymore.
Yeah, Yeah, so the standard witches will always be of the same colours.
Yeah, there's a couple of other
and they might need some extra toppings like your marshmallows, your Powerpuff Girls.
So I'd like to have seen cards that had mixed colours on the ingredients.
Well, we'll get to that because there are some.
There are
in
some
the game, but so yeah, that's the basic side of the game. So to talk about some of the board itself. And the shops. So you've got a shop which allows you to buy upgrades for your store, which is what you were saying earlier, James, about increasing your store. That's over there. It's quite expensive. On the polar opposite side of the board, you've got warehouse, which anything that doesn't sell in the round from that store goes into house
and becomes cheaper.
But if it's then not bought, it then disappears. So that's two of them. You've got the takeaway ones, which are personal objectives. Which can be completed at any point on anybody's turn, and it's just by matching teas in a set area of the board, including the fountain that it's in and the teapots that are in there. And if you use someone else's teapot, you have to give them a bonus and what have you. That's that one. That's the one that we said wasn't great. Then you had the celebrities section, which is what we were talking about just now.
Yeah.
These are customers, very powerful customers, but they require different teas.
Yeah.
Because they're having some kind of, I don't know, matcha latte with pistachio and whiskey.
Yeah.
You know.
They come with quite powerful effects when you serve them, and if you keep them loyal, they are worth more points at the end of the game.
Yes. So they're good to have. I didn't really use them in my first two games, but in my third and fourth games, I played on them quite strongly.
Yeah.
And in the last game we played, I again didn't touch them. Mainly because both you and Dave were hitting them quite hard. So I was like, okay, I'll let you deal with those. I'll deal with something else. So you got the celebrities, then you've got like... I forget what the other specialties, which are like one-hit wonders.
Yeah,
they're powerful effects, but if you don't spend them, they're worth 2 victory points at the end.
Yeah,
and that could be something like serve someone without having to actually serve them.
Trigger, which is the one I had. That element of the game I quite like, where it's going to either give you a useful one-time effect. And they are pretty useful. Like, I think I had the one that was trigger any shop's effects, not the one that you're in.
Yeah,
which is really good if someone's blocked off the spot you want. So it's a choice between using that one-time effect or an extra 2 points at the end of the game if you don't spend it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I quite like that choice element. It's like, this is really useful, but it is worth points.
Yeah. I think is that all the sides of the board? I don't think there's another one, is there?
The hex signs.
Yeah, the hex, where you get the
hex. You can either serve a witch or hex box.
That's it. Yeah, you can. There's a standard one there where you can serve like really, really basic witches where they take like one thing to serve them.
Yeah, it's one or the other.
They just give you a reputation and a money.
They're basically ways to empty your storage. If you haven't got, if you can't serve any of the people in your line, you can serve one of them, and they might give you a reputation.
Yeah.
But the reason you would actually want to go there is to buy the upgraded hex wards.
The hex wards, yeah. So on your personal board, there's 3 hex wards that you can upgrade, which give you better stuff basically when you serve.
The hex wards, as Jason mentioned during the push your luck phase, if you get hexed by having 2 of the same witches, you discard down to your hex wards. Basically, the first 3 cards you draw are protected effectively.
Yes.
And they're just protected. If you put a hex ward on them, depending on if you pay 1, 2, or 3 money.
Depending how powerful and what.
Yeah, you get added things like, I think the most powerful one gives you a reputation and a coin.
Yeah, and then the others are one or the other.
Yeah. The second one is the coin, the first one is the reputation. And if you get all 3 with the upgrades, it's worth 12 points at the end of the game.
Exactly, yeah. So that's that. If there is a part of the board that we're forgetting, I mean, it will probably give you a rough idea of how we feel about that section. Because if we've forgotten about it, it can't be that good. But yeah, so that's the basic gist of the board. You've got 4 rounds of gathering stuff, making stuff, serving people, and then whoever has the most points at the end wins. Because at the end of the game, you get points for how many loyal customers you've got left. You get points for like reputation tickets that you haven't spent.
Yes.
We will definitely talk about those a bit later, no doubt.
Money.
Various things. Money. All of that jazz. So that is the game. How do you feel about the player interaction in this game? Ant-Man.
In all honesty, I don't think I really had much of it this game because, again, I was learning it. You guys had already played it. I remember I stumbled on a few things like the takeaway orders I mucked up on because I thought it was to do with your storage. It's not. It's the area you're doing it in. So I was collecting like the higher... Well, there's two versions of it, isn't there? There's the 4 points and the 2 points. So I was like trying to focus on that as well as that. So for me, there wasn't as much player interaction because I was doing it completely wrong. And I forgot that you can actually borrow from other teapots as well and stuff. So yeah, that's my bad on that one.
What about you, James?
Player interaction. Most of it comes from the fact that all but one space is limited to one pup.
Correct.
So it's very easy to block off spaces because within each section, not only are there 3 spaces, but it will be like one space gives you 3 action.
Another one will give you an action and 2 resources.
Yeah, and the other one might give you 2 actions and 1 resource sort of thing. So it's... What you usually find is the 3 action slots disappear very quickly.
Yeah, because that's how you're going to get your tea.
And then it's basically a fight for what... how many actions you want and what bottom action, effectively, what area shop do you want to trigger? Because once that space is taken, it's filled for the round.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no way to move a pup off. I can't bump someone. There isn't a special way that I can sort of knock someone off the space and take it instead. It's like there is a one spot on the board that has the little infinity symbol so that you're not completely locked out.
Yeah, and it's not even that good.
It's
like one action and a resource.
Yes, but it's you're never completely. You can't like completely lock someone out.
No, exactly. Which is good.
I like that they've taken that into account. There's enough player interaction there. I think you'd count the takeaway orders as player interaction because you are interacting. That is a mechanic that would get on my nerves playing it with a new player.
Sorry.
In general, and it's nothing against the new player, but in terms of analysis paralysis and trying to pay attention, having to watch everyone's pup and the fountain spin round while you're trying to plan your turn is hard enough for someone who knows how the game works.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that mechanic.
No. I'm a bit more understanding of it now than I was originally, but it is still an element of the game I'm not a big fan of.
I'm more understanding of how the mechanic works and what they're intending to do after playing it. I'm still not a fan of the mechanic. It's just because it's like where I should be planning my next turn, I now have to keep one eye on the board of wherever his position is in case one of my takeaway orders fills.
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking about what I'm doing next turn.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have led me on quite nicely into my next bullet point here, James. And I will definitely go to Ant for this one because you have only played the game once. But, you know, what James was saying there about not wanting to play the game with new players so much for that mechanic.
I will rephrase that as I don't think it's new player friendly.
No. And that was kind of the question: is how do you both feel about the clarity of the rules? Is it a smooth learning curve? Are there stumbling blocks? You know, would you say that you have an easy learning experience for this one? And
I have to be careful with this because I'm not sure I could actually comment on this section because I've never seen the rule book and it's more a comment of your teach.
Exactly. But that's the key thing. That's the point of this. So yeah, how do you feel about the clarity of the rules?
I mean, I think I stumbled like I do every new game the first time I play it. It's the first couple of rounds and you get into it. But then, like you said, 4 rounds and it's kind of done and over and done with. I just kind of stumbled, like I said, on the takeaway side of it, takeaway orders, and the storage that you could buy, because each tile does something different.
Yeah.
And I noticed during the game that James had a tile where he was creating like certain type of brown teas, which I needed for mine to score a load of victory points if I had loads in the end. So I bought a tile thinking, oh, these will make brown teas, and it's not. It turns other ones into, or can be used for brown stuff. So I read that wrong, thinking it was this, but it was actually that. But again, I know for next time, so I think that's where I just really stumbled on it. It was pretty easy to get into, but for me, it was just a shock factor that this wasn't just a worker placement. It was this, and it was this, and it was this.
So as part of the clarity of the rules section, would you say that your misunderstanding of the storage is that more a case of the teach wasn't particularly great? I'd have no problem if you say that is the case, or would you also say that maybe the symbology on those tiles isn't as intuitive as you might think it should be?
I was literally about to say it wasn't the teach, it was the symbology, because it was literally, I bought only a small one and it was like, place the thing here and it turns brown. So I was like, oh, okay, it's going to create a brown.
It'll create a brown.
But it doesn't show that. It just shows the colour. So that's where I got confused the symbology wise.
I absolutely 100%. I'm glad Ant brought that up. The iconography on those tiles is, on some of them, on the ones that actually do what you thought, is fairly simple. But because they all look the same, it would be very easy to assume that's what they all do.
Yeah.
Because they all look the same.
Yeah.
And James corrected me on the big one I bought, because I bought the big storage thing, and he was like, oh, and actually, I see you're storing it up, but he actually has to be this colour. And I'm like, okay.
It's because I didn't want to step on your game, but it's sort of like, having had that tile in a previous game, it's like, I could see you were putting all different colours in it. It's like, and it was a case of, and you might be storing those, but as it's your first play, I'm just going to point out that if you want that to score, they all have to be the same colour, and it has to be that colour.
Yeah, and I didn't know that unless he pointed that out. So
so a bit more of intuitive symbology might be needed.
I've played it 3 times, and the first thing I say is, can I have the rule book with the glossary symbol in it, because I can't remember what half of these things do.
Yeah.
Because you can't just look, aside from the one when you actually see the one that duplicates, and it's probably the only one that's actually that's fairly obvious what it does. The rest of them,
so I would say, for me, like, clarity of the rules wise, obviously I've had the benefit of actually looking at the rule book, and learning it that way. But I would definitely say that there is somewhat of a learning curve to this one, if you're not reading it from the rule book.
I would say for you and me, it's also partially our fault. We probably tainted it ourselves, because it was one of the rare cases where you, me, and Dave were all playing it for the first time and learning it for the first time, which is probably why we had such a clunky, horrible, in all fairness, which is probably why we had such a clunky, horrible first game, because we all went into it as learners. There wasn't really, as much as I made a little joke there about the quality of your teach, it's like, well, there wasn't a teach because all of us were learning it at the same time.
Okay, so the next section is highlights and concerns. Now, we've already highlighted some of our concerns, and also mentioned some of our general highlights of the game that we've enjoyed. But this is where we really talk about what we like, what we dislike about the game. So I'll give it up to you guys. Who wants to go first? What surprised you about the game? What didn't quite click? What really did click? And what would you like to have maybe seen more of in the game? Who would like to go first on this one?
I can go first on this one. I think I've succinctly said it in all the things, but I always love a good worker placement, and it doesn't do that wrong. It is perfect worker placement mechanics. I like both the celebrity and specialty mechanics, having used them. I think the only reason I didn't use them in our very first game is because they were on the opposite side of where I was sitting, and I couldn't really read them, and I just kind of passed them out. The second and third play, I definitely took advantage of both, and I was like, actually, these work really well.
Yeah.
So can't fault those. The push your luck mechanic
just doesn't say.
The push your luck mechanic and the way the to-go orders. The to-go orders are thematic. I just don't think they're implemented very well.
Yeah.
And the way they are implemented is not. It's difficult enough for a normal for a player who's played it. They're not new gamer friendly.
Okay.
I think it's also worth mentioning how much of a table hog that game is.
Yep. I mean, I'm going to talk about that as well. So, yep.
You know,
definitely.
Wasn't so much a problem at the club with our lovely boards. Trying to play it on your table here on that third play, that game should not sprawl that badly.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't exactly a small table, but it is, I would say, average sort of IKEA family table.
Yeah.
You know, dining table.
That game does not need to sprawl that badly.
It does not. It does not. What about you, Ant? Have you got any highlights, particular negatives that you didn't enjoy so much on your first play?
Yeah, so highlights, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier on about it wasn't the game I was expecting, so that was a big surprise. The push your luck mechanic wasn't too bad for me first time. It might be another thing I might not like if I play it again or again. It does remind me of another game that the creators or the designers had done at the beginning of the year with Critter Kitchen, like serving up for customers and stuff like that. That kind of brought back memories of that and stuff. The downside to it, I'm going to go, for me as a new player, that 4 rounds, I felt there was just too much to do as a first player. Because like James was saying about, you've got new customers as well as loyal customers. You've got to try and keep them in certain things. But then I'm trying to do this at the same time. I'm trying to buy more storage and I'm trying to do takeaway orders all at once. I think I got a bit overwhelmed towards the end.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much next time I play it, but I still feel like there's still a lot for a worker placement. There's a lot in there to go for, which is probably my downside to that, as well as mimicking what James said as well. So
yeah. Nice. So yeah, I'm going to focus mainly on the table hog aspect and the game itself, right? The game board, it's fine. And when you look at it and, you know, on the box and what have you, is that they primarily will show the game board. The problem is the expansion to that, because you've got the game board, which is central, which is a big board that doesn't need to be as big as it is. So that could easily be half the size, which would deal with a lot of the problems. But then in every section, you then have to have more that's off of the board. Some of them come with another board. Some of them you've got to put 3 piles of standard size cards. You've got piles of, you know, American mini cards. You've got, you know, piles of tokens that need to be stored by the side. Then you've got your piles of money which need to be stored. Then you've got piles of... It's just stuff everywhere. It is a real table hog, and it doesn't look like it should be.
And then, add into that, each player needs enough space for standard cards to push their luck with. Put down, put down, put down, put down.
Yep, exactly. And then when they become loyal, that's more sections that you need to be able to store.
Then at the side of your player board, it shouldn't sprawl.
Yeah, so for context, this is a 5 foot by 3 foot table, and we took up every single centimetre of this table.
I had to move stuff.
We did,
just to be able to fit all the bits in.
Yeah, so real table hog on this one, and I think this is something that needs to be mentioned because we're coming up to Christmas. People love Flamecraft. This looks like Flamecraft. It looks like it's going to be good for the people that play Flamecraft, but it is double, if not quite triple, the size requirement of Flamecraft. Your table space. So that is definitely something to be wary of. I've already mentioned the stuff that didn't quite sit with me, so I won't say them again. But I really was surprised at how much I like the celebrities mechanic because I didn't hit them in the first couple of games, and I outright said I don't see the point in these. I was wrong. Those are definitely worth it, and they can be very powerful.
Was it our second game where I drew that particular, or I got that particular?
You got a really dirty one,
which was every time you serve that celebrity, you get a free small upgrade from the either warehouse, and it's just like, so every time I get that, free storage, free storage, free storage,
and that leads me on nicely to talk about the next part that I want to talk about with the celebrities, which is I do not think they are well balanced.
No,
which is the downside of the celebrities. Some of them are incredibly powerful. Perfect example. Some of them you just look at and go, why would I bother?
Yeah, nah.
No thanks.
I'm sure it's got a case use. I just don't see it.
Exactly. So the next section, obviously, we have to talk about, because I mentioned the theme, I mentioned the visuals of this game, and who it is very clearly being aimed at, because I'm not sure that they are the right people for this game. So for you, Ant, who do you think this game is actually for? Is it gateway, family, lightweight, medium weight? You know, who? Because let's be honest, they're aiming this at the Flamecraft people. And I don't think that that's the right market.
No, I was literally about to say that's not the case. I think it's definitely a mid worker placement type. It's definitely not for families of younger kids and stuff. It's definitely more for the higher generation of gamers, to be honest. And if kids can play it, then kudos to them. But it's definitely not for the Flamecraft audience that it is. Because let's face it, I think that's what triggered all us to like 100%. Really go for it as well. So, or intrigued us to give it a go.
Yeah.
But
Flamecraft is simple by comparison.
Oh, totally.
And yes, it's by no means of the imagination a heavyweight game, but I'd have to agree that this is not this is being aimed at the wrong people.
Yeah. Now, I had already had this in my mind, and I'm kind of glad that you mentioned a certain game that I'm about to mention as well. And I'd put this into like a list. You know, Flamecraft, Critter Kitchen, and Tea Witches. And I think in that order is where we're standing on the complexity scale. Flamecraft is down here, where your family weight can play this. You've got Critter Kitchen, which is sort of next level.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. It's still lightweight, but it's more towards the medium weight, so light to medium. This one for me is solidly in that upper area of lightweight, closer to medium weight.
Yeah, definitely medium.
And therefore, you know, the artwork, I love it. I really do. And visually, the game is stunning.
Oh, as always, yeah.
But I think it's very deceiving. And I think, personally, I'd say that could be to the game's downfall.
Well,
it looks a bit more approachable than it actually is.
You did mention when we played it why Cardboard Alchemy didn't actually this could have been the trilogy.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like I said, it makes you wonder. They put out Critter Kitchen, same designer, same artist, Flamecraft. You know, why is this the op?
Yeah.
Why is it not Cardboard Alchemy? Were they pitched this game, or was this the op? Went to those people and went, we want our version of Flamecraft. Who knows? I don't know that for certain, but it makes me feel that way.
Yeah.
Why is this not part of that trilogy?
There you go.
You know, and so I have to say, we are talking towards that medium.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at this game for families, I
definitely not.
I can't be recommending it at that sort of level. Obviously the next question is, would you play it again?
I'd play it again. I wouldn't own it.
Okay. What about you, James?
I would play it again, which is definitely an improvement of where I stood after that first play. I've warmed to it enough and understand it enough that I would play it again. But we're basically in final thoughts now, so
essentially, yeah.
I would say my final thought is I've warmed to it, but given the choice between this and Flamecraft every day.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm kind of in that same boat. We've got all 3 games in our collection now: Critter Kitchen, Flamecraft, and Tea Witches. I'm going to take Critter Kitchen or Flamecraft over this.
Oh yeah,
I can't comment on Critter Kitchen. I think I've played it at yours,
but
it was
once.
long enough that I can't remember it.
Yeah. But honestly, as I said, I'm going to be doing a full review of this, so I don't want to give away too much. But right now, after my first impressions, is I don't see this game surviving in my collection. Time will tell, because I've got to play it with my partner yet. She definitely put interest in playing it.
Yeah.
So
still get a few plays out of it.
If she likes it, then it can stay. But when I look over at my collection over there and I see Flamecraft and going, yeah, that's been in there since their first crowdfunding, and it's got no chance of leaving. And then right above it, I've got Tea Witches, and I'm like, look after that spot, because you're not going to have it for long.
You're going.
Exactly. So there you go. That's our first impressions of Tea Witches. We sort of kind of on the fence, really. It's a mixed bag of good and bad, right?
But it's good. It can't be good all the time, right?
Exactly. Take from it what you will, because yes, it's definitely improved in its standing in 3 plays for me. But yeah, if someone put Tea Witches and someone put Flamecraft in front of me, Flamecraft,
100%,
without any hesitation.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess we can call it there, guys. It's getting a bit late.
But first, have you played Tea Witches? If so, comment below, let us know. Or if you've played any games this week that you want to tell us about, again, comment below, let us know.
Indeed. You always jump in there, and I love it, because I always forget.
Yeah. I had to jump in because I thought you were going to end this episode before I got it in.
I was very, very close. Very, very close indeed. But yeah, thank you very much for coming over again, guys. It's been good fun. I hope you like the new setup. But you guys, again, I promised that we were going to be changing the setup again, giving new things a try. This is kind of what I envisaged of trying. So let me know whether you like what you are seeing. Doesn't really work for the audio people, but hey ho, it is what it is.
Give us a watch.
Give us a watch. It's better. Trust me, you can see all of our lovely faces. Poor you. But yes, I think we can officially head off. And so till next time, I have been Jason.
I have been James.
I've been Ant.
And you have been watching or listening to The Meeple Minded. Join us next time for more tabletop gaming goodness. Ta-ta and goodbye.